Hey guys, Jeff here. Today I'm going to show you the easiest way that you can build a ramp for your shed. So we start off by guesstimating, what's a good ramp, right? So we take a look at this. A 4-foot ramp, okay, that's a lot of ramp. It doesn't have to be exactly that. A 36-inch ramp is maybe too aggressive, where your lawnmower, when you're running up the ramp, it might bottom out in the middle and end up wrecking your edge. So somewhere in the middle would be nice. Now, a 46-inch ramp is actually pretty perfect, okay? And so since we're going to have a 46-inch ramp, and it's going to start right from this point here, this is a nosing, we have to have a little bit of material coming right up underneath. We want to start 2 inches down, okay? Or 1.5 inches down, so about here. That's where you want a ramp to finish, so that the top of this board is flush with the top of this board, okay? And we can make these adjustments on the fly as we go. So we're going to basically just start with our basic structure. The ground is close to level. That's close enough for what we're doing, all right? We don't want to have to turn this into like a high school science project. We're going to start with 46. In order to make this simple, the last board is 7.5 inches. It's extra wide. So it's easier if our board comes in contact with the dirt and then our slat goes into the dirt. So we're going to go short. We're going to go to 45 on our cut on this, okay? So go cut me a 45, and then we'll show you how to get all your angles. This isn't going to be that tricky at all. I'm going to stand this, and if you're sitting right here, you can actually visualize the side of the board at the bottom. It shouldn't be touching the deck. It should be out, just like the nosing. So I'm going to just go like that. That's going to get my vertical, and I want this tip to be based on this board. So I'm going to slide it back. There we go. That's going to be my angle. All right, so it's going to be something like this, from here to here, and I can trace that out later. Now, to get the proper slope, we take a full board and we just set it down right next to it. All right. And here we are. Now, I'm going to just line that up 0 to 0, and then I'm going to just trace this line. Okay, and there's my slope. Now, when I'm done, I can have this board here. There's my angle for this end. Okay, so we'll cut both of these, and then the top of this will sit here, and then the bottom of this will be on the ground, and that'll be perfect. Okay. Now if this works, we'll just trace this. Drum roll, please. That's pretty darn close, and it's got to do with the contour of the ground too a little bit, eh? Okay, so now we're closer, but you notice the ground is also not flat, right? So if I want to go from here to here, I got two options. Now I'm looking like I've almost got to take this into consideration, which is the slope of the ground. So now I can scribe that slope of the ground. Okay. Now, that should be a lot closer to perfect. We can get like that, and then to make sure that we have enough strength, we drive our screws in. We can also take a piece of 2x4 or some cross bracing, and that'll give it all the beef that it needs. And then by using 2x8, we're actually going to create all the strength from the top side as we add all these screws, okay? So we'll do this 3 times. Let's cut 2 of them at 45. Let's just go like this. Now, I'm going to come off the tip here. I'm going to go a little wider here and then back to flush. You might have to come at it from 2 different directions. All right, there's the middle, give or take. All right, okay, I'll use that one here. It's got that marker all over it. Okay. All right, so give me Give me one 2x6 at 47, and then we'll be ready to roll. And then I'll get to the other measurements as we go. I want to be able to have the board extend just past my framing. So we'll set that one there, and make that mark. Okay, and then I want to put this one in here. Again, about 2 inches in. There's my mark. Measure this off. 38.5. Great. Made that really hard on myself, didn't I? 15, 19 and a quarter. 19 and a quarter is my center. This piece of dirt here. And then I'll go like this. There's my board. Okay. Beautiful. Now we got that. Let's bring that over. And then I'll get this out of here. I need my drill. Okay. Whew. Okay, now try this out. So as long as we get the right height, we're in the right spot. Okay? And we are 41 and a quarter. Try to keep these somewhat square. Okay. That's the one that's out. Just eyeball it. That's why we're going with a couple inches over, because you can eyeball things, and then even if you're off, it still looks good from my house, right? I'm going to measure into my screw, 4 inches. Now I'm translating that screw location to the bottom of this board. Okay. Those go in the middle. We'll do that side first. All right, so now we're square. Let's get this bad boy in position too. Now I'm setting these screws to the right gap so that I can take this out and use this later. This is just to set us up for success. All right, maybe I can get those 2.5s. Oh, just pour them right in. Thanks, sir. Now I'm going to square this one off on my center mark. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to lift it into position, throw a couple of screws in it. Okay, so we'll set those up early on. If you want this to maintain looking as sexy as possible, we're going to do this from underneath. All right, and we're going to throw them in at an angle. Start from about an 1.5 inch back, drive the screw, go in reverse. Change the angle so you can drive forward. And just set all these screws in place before you get going. Okay. We're going to add other members here to take care of the load issue in a second. Okay. Okay. And then the same on the other side. Since you're handy, here. No, I'm going to get you to stand on those. All I'm going to do is put my drill on a screw, ready to drive forward. Lift this into position, and then tight to the building, and then drive the screw. And then one from these left-handed screws. To be honest, if I wanted to, I probably could have done this from outside of the building. But I'm trying to keep the look sexy. All right. Okay, thank you very much for your help. The trick here is to have the screw and the drill bit line up perfectly. Okay. Woo! Now, the best part about this whole design is this. I need some scrap 2x4s. That's all I got to do. Right here. Okay? And screw these together. Now, a screw has a shear strength of 80 pounds, which means it transfers 80 pounds of load. So, if I put a screw every foot along this board, on all three sides, every foot of this board, I'm transferring 240 pounds. That's probably the minimum you would want. So let's put a screw every 6 inches, and now we're transferring over 500 pounds. And I'm pretty sure that that would satisfy pretty much everybody in the world who's using a lawnmower. Okay, there we go. And now you wanted to go, hey Jeff, how come you didn't put any protection on the bottom side of that piece of wood? If you want to use joist tape or whatever, you can. But I'm transferring load from the top of this board into the meat of this board. So the only part that I need to maintain any structural integrity is where the screw goes and the bottom of the 2x4, which is pressure treated. Yeah, and it's not rated for ground contact, I get it. But there's a difference between ground contact and being buried in the dirt, right? Most times of the year, in a 4-season climate, it's too cold to be transferring moisture. It's not a big issue. If you've ever torn an old shed apart that had wood sitting directly on the ground, you'd know what I'm talking about. Well, let me get a measurement, because I can only go so far underneath. I'm only looking for, like, give me some 26s. Yeah. Here we go. And then it's just a matter of cutting the rest of these boards and installing them. And we're using 3-inch screws with 3 inches of wood, so put a 5-degree angle on that if you want to bury the head. But burying the head is even optional, because like I said, we're transferring load. We're not trying to compress the boards together. Okay. That's why you don't have to have a perfect scribe. So when you're scribing your boards, err on the side of giving yourself space, knowing that this transfer of load situation here is going to do all the work for you. Okay, and that is as simple as things get. That's money in the bank. We're going to take our marker now and actually mark the dirt and the grass. You'd be surprised how well this works. Okay, so I'm making contact here, but the ramp is here. This one's a little higher. So what I want to do is take that shovel that I brought. All right. Maybe from the back of a hammer and just claw that out. That might actually work better. It's only 1 inch. I don't want to use your hammer for that, but just claw the dirt, scooch it underneath. You don't have to go too deep there. I'm not looking for gold.
I might find it.
All right, come on. Yeah, well, you're okay. That's going to do the job. Okay. Okay. And now we're set right in that hole off the wood. All right. Now, the trick here is to remember that the wood gets really thin. So to get a good grab, put it on a bit of an angle back towards where you want, and only go to the middle on the last one, and go a sharper angle. Make sure you're grabbing something. All right, there we go. Okay, there we are. Now over time, we can come back, and if you want, you can put a little bit of extra dirt here, a little bit of grass seed. That way when you're coming along with the lawnmower, you're literally just running right across there, taking up the extra. Okay, nice. Last touch. And we're gonna come right off of that.
Chalk line it.
We could chalk line it, but at the same time, that's flush. Oy. All right. There we go. All right. What I'm going to do is get rid of that, set that in nice and flush. That blade is really struggling. She's worn out. Let's put it in the dirt now. Wow, that really is crooked, dude. I'm not a fan. I gotta try to fix this. That's better. That was way too much work. Okay.